Hi, welcome to the Drama Free Living Podcast. It's Dennis and Lisa McIntee. And hey, Lisa, it's been really fun. We've been kind of doing this series on how do you enjoy being around people that you sort of have to be around.
Yeah.
And I think it really changes the dynamic when you kind of think of it like in this frame of like, okay, how could I enjoy? Right? Because your questions really determine like how you think about things.
Right.
Right. And so if you come into the mindset of like, hey, I can actually enjoy, it's almost like a skill. Hey, this is a skill that I'm going to learn. I'm in this situation. I'm in this circumstance. I'm working on a team, and there's a couple people on the team that I just don't quite really enjoy being around. But how could I enjoy being around them? Mm-hmm. Right? Because I have to work with them. We have to be together on this project or working on this team. So I have to be around you. So how can I enjoy that situation? And really when you think about it that way, Lisa, I think it becomes more of like, hey, this is a skill I can learn. And I forget, we're just talking with, I think one of our kids, and I was just sort of explaining, hey, this is a great opportunity for you to learn these things. Right. So one of our kids, we're having challenges at work, and I actually just told him, I said, hey, this is this opportunity for you to really, because guess what? This is going to happen to you again.
Yeah.
I don't know, it might not be next year, but it might be like at your next promotion or your next place. This is actually a skill that you can learn. And I think sometimes we do, especially young people, we do them a disservice, right? Because they think that, that everything's supposed to be perfect and we're not supposed to have any problems. And, work is supposed
to. It shouldn't be this way.
It shouldn't be this way, right? Which totally sets us up. And here's what happens with the shouldn'ts. Is all of my shoulds and shouldn'ts end up becoming premeditated resentments. Mm-hmm. You should do this, but at the end of the day, it didn't happen. So guess what it becomes? It becomes a resentment. I get angry, irritated, or annoyed. And guess what? My shoulds have set me up that way. And so you kind of set yourself up, right, by thinking certain ways. And one way to kind of mindset to step into it is that like, hey, I can enjoy the people that I work with.
Right. And unfortunately, sometimes when we are at work, we have people that are just bring a lot of drama in.
Oh, come on.
And
That's not true.
They could be higher ups that are just so controlling and so filled with drama and just make the work environment chaotic. Yeah. Or it could be a coworker. Right. It could be it could be just about anyone in the pecking order of work life.
Yeah.
And that person that brings that drama in and that craziness in and that chaoticness in just kind of ruins the environment for all of us. And that's kind of what we're talking about is this, how do we deal with these things?
Yeah, because a lot of times sometimes the problem is not really the workload, but it's like this one personality that's on the team that's kind of creating all this drama.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and then we try to we think people are working too much, or we could try to lower the workload when it's like, hey, let's just deal with what this is. Right. And so Lisa, I think, this is a good question because I think we really have to define like what drama is, right? Because it's not like passion.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of times like people mistake drama for like, hey, I'm just really passionate.
Right.
Right. Or I just have a lot of energy, or I just really care and say, oh, you're just full of drama. No. I think it's like this emotional hijacking. That kind of happens, right? Where it's like come in and I say things, I use sarcasm, right? I have these dysfunctional communication styles, and I have these sort of words that I use to kind of hijack situations, right? It's like, hey, you're just toxic, emotional hijacking, right? Or I have forms of violent communication, which we define as sarcasm, right? We have even like, behavior, even things like, hey, let's just say like rolling the eyes, right? Or, having a frown, right? And it's this idea that we come in and we sort of hijack teams and we kind of stir the pot a little bit, right? It's like we talk about things that we really have no business talking about.
Yeah.
Like things that I can't solve. Right? Or we try to find out information that I'm not, it's like if cannot be a solution to that problem, I don't need to know about the problem. Right? If I'm not a part of the solution, then it's really none of my business. And really, I think like staying in your own lane. And I think part of it is just having really good, healthy boundaries. Because part of the challenge is that part of my boundary is that I have to let you be you. So I have to allow you to say almost like whatever you say and almost have this COVID suit on, right? It's like you can just kind of fall right through me. And I don't have to take everything in. But I can sort of have what we call this catcher's mitt, right? It's like take this, right? And I get to look at it, right? And I get to look at it and go, is it true or not true? Right? Instead of being emotionally hijacked by something you say and then you're mad, so I'm mad, right? You're mad about this situation and I take your offense and then I'm mad about it too. It's what's creating all the drama.
Yeah. And, really, it's learning to distinguish normal human issues from a pattern of chaos, a pattern of conflict, and a pattern of emotional hijacking. We all have seasons where things are less than perfect and maybe we don't show up the best at work or wherever. Sometimes we're just human that way.
Yeah.
But I can't call someone a high drama person. I can't call someone toxic in the environment if they're just being human and these are human issues. But if they have a pattern of chaos and a pattern of conflict and a pattern of emotional hijacking and violent communication, then that is drama and we need to deal with it.
And what's interesting is that, Lisa, we know people that if they don't have any drama, they go create some drama because all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I don't feel comfortable. I'm kind of nervous. I'm really used to having a lot of drama around, so I'm going to go create some drama.
Yeah.
Right? And it's sort of what you're saying. It kind of becomes this pattern. So, I mean, what do you think some reasons are? I mean, the challenge is a lot of times we tolerate this in the workplace.
We do.
Right? And my favorite statement is whatever I don't address, I endorse. Right? And I should never complain about what I permit.
Right.
And how many times do we do these things, right? We don't necessarily address it, and we're actually just endorsing it. I think one is afraid they're going to leave. That's a huge one, right? Especially in certain industries that we work in where, say the nursing shortage that we have. And we do a lot of work with nurses in healthcare and, hospital systems, long-term care, just the whole spectrum, right? And there's that whole fear.
And it's a requirement. We have to have someone there. There is patient to caregiver ratios that have just shown to keep people alive, if it drops below certain numbers.
And so even though these are real fears, we have to walk through them, right? Because here's the reality. We will never confront what we're unwilling to, or we'll never correct what we're unwilling to confront.
Right.
And we'll never confront something we're afraid of, right? Fear, confront, correct. And so stepping back, and this is where, at least it's why I love EI. It's what I love about our work. I mean, because we really get a chance to deal with a lot of these emotions of leadership, which are really at the core.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, when you think about leadership, that's all the how-tos, right? Here's how you do confrontation, 4 steps to this, 3 steps to this, to this, for this, and this kind of formula. And I like those. Right. But if we don't take a step back and really deal with these emotions, how do you deal with the fear?
Right.
Right. How do you do that? Because if you can learn to deal with the fear, how to confront, there's probably 4 or 5 different great solutions. I can give you 4 or 5 different great tools and frameworks to use, but it's not the framework, right? It's how do I deal with that? How do I deal with these emotions of leadership?
Right. And really what it is these 5 steps to this and 4 ways to that. This is the river that runs through the company. This is the river that runs through the speed of business. And you can have 4 steps for this and 5 ways of this and 10 boxes to check in your project management board. But if you don't get rid of the toxic waste and the poison that the factory next to your river is pouring into your river, you can do 4 ways and 5 and 10, and you're going to be poisoning the people downriver. Doesn't matter what you do. It's and that emotional toxicity is what's leaching into these rivers. And so you can't do 4 steps, 5 ways, 10 check marks and think that we're going to be living a healthy, thriving business and life because we're dealing with the toxicity that's leaching into the stream and the river. And so this EI and dealing with what's actually going on, creating this drama, you remove that out of the way, then your 4 steps and your 5 how-to and your 10 boxes, they'll work all day long.
Yeah. And so many times we don't step in and really get to the root, which is why, listen, if you have not gotten to EI, we just implore you, we beg you, we'll put a link there. Go get it. It is a game changer. Yeah. And it really helps teams, and it will help you really how to navigate through some of the emotional waste so that you get back to really enjoying what you love, and you really become much more successful and get results faster. That's the key. Get rid of the emotional waste, and get to results faster. It actually speeds up your results.
Yeah. So another reason why leaders tolerate chronic drama is that they have this fear of conflict.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Or maybe anyone in the organization has a fear of conflict. And we had to recently let go someone in our organization, and honestly, I did not enjoy that conversation.
Yeah.
I am a low conflict person. I do not like conflict. And
you're a total peacemaker.
It takes so much energy for me to step in and do this. And I had to take some time to recover. But you know what? That is okay.
Yeah.
It is okay if you have to step into conflict, and if you have to step into direct addressing situations. It's totally okay to, like, after it's done, step back and just take some time.
Yeah.
And rebuild that energy. You know, my Aura ring tells me if I'm at stressed, or if I'm engaged, or if I'm, relaxed or restoring, And so if I am going and me dealing with this conflict is putting me up in the stress thing, my ring is going to scream at me and tell me that I need to get some relaxing time or restoration time. But we all deal with it differently, but sometimes we tolerate chronic drama because we have a fear of conflict. Or maybe you don't have a fear of conflict, but you're just not really sure how to approach it.
Yeah.
You have to approach it in a way that you're not going to get into a lawsuit. I mean, it's real. And that's when you phone a friend. That's when you go to a professional and you ask them, okay, how do I deal with this situation to respect them, respect the company, and stay out of the legal system?
Lisa, you don't know how many times we get called in for those kind of conversations, right? And even our current clients. So listen, if that's a situation that you need some help with, reach out to us, right? We really have a team of experts that really help you do it in a functional way. Right.
And a legal functional way.
A legal functional way.
Healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lisa, you said something really great. You said, you don't like it. And they immediately thought of well, you know what, Lisa, it's okay. You don't have to like it. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
You just have to do it. And how many times I've seen this with leaders is that we spend our energy trying to get you to like it. And at the end of the day, Lisa, you will never like conflict, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay not to like it.
Never will.
Never will.
Never will, like maybe other people like conflict. Like maybe you like conflict.
Right. And that's okay. And I don't have to try to get you to like it. I just need you to do it at times. Right. And so I think sometimes, if we're not careful, this is where we always tell people, stop coaching feelings. Right. I'm trying to get you to like it. Well, this person might never like it. Right. Another team member was just telling me how she didn't like a certain thing. And I said, well, you don't have to you just have to ask for it. She said, well, I don't like asking for this. It's like, that's fine. You don't have to like it. I'm good. In fact, I don't care if you like it or not. You just got to do it. You just got it. Yeah. And so, but that's stepping into, and I think many times learning to manage your energy is huge. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because by nature, there are things that I don't like to do too. Right. But I know I have to give it a lot more energy. The things I like really don't cost me a lot of energy, and that's okay. Yeah. And so really learning the rhythm of your work, learning the rhythm of your life, and really working with that rhythm.
Yeah.
There are certain things I don't like. There are certain things I'm going to have to expend more energy, and just knowing that and going, okay, I did that. I'm going to need an hour vacation now or something.
Right.
Right. And being great with that and really knowing yourself.
Right. Absolutely. It's being aware of yourself. Another reason leaders tolerate chronic drama is, but they're so good.
Oh, that's a key one.
They are so good at whatever.
They hit their numbers.
So essentially they are a high-performing troublemaker.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do anything with this person that's a high performing, because they are high performing and they do hit their numbers, or they
have all this institutional knowledge or industry.
They've got all the letters behind their name.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if it's destroying your culture it's destroying your organization.
And then it's going to destroy your impact on your clients and your customers and those your people that you're trying to serve.
Right. And it's almost like really determining the cost of high performance. Because a lot of times we don't even know the cost. Right? Oh, yeah, we're hitting this number, but you know what? It's costing us all this lost productivity here on the back end, right? They're leaving all of this. And so, and these things are painful. These are painful things to navigate through. They're painful things to deal with. Hey, listen, and every situation is unique, okay? And I don't want to give, here's the thing, Lisa, I don't want to do. I don't just want to give a pat answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think situations are unique. We want to just bring it up. But if you want to reach out to us and tell us about your unique situation, our team would love to have a conversation with you. We've got some amazing coaches that from all different streams, from Fortune 500, have been with Fortune 500 organizations to small entrepreneurial groups. Right? We have a vast array of coaches that we can put you in touch with, and you can have these kind of conversations with. So, Lisa, we want to bring these things up, but I want to just be very, very careful that I just don't throw out a pat answer, because it might only work 50% of the time.
Or 20% of the time.
Yeah.
Because each situation is
we just want you to be aware of it, okay? And we want you to be willing to step in and have these conversations, right? Because nothing changes until something changes, right? If nothing changes, nothing changes.
Yeah.
If nothing changes, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to keep getting what you've always got.
Yeah.
And you have to ask yourself, am I happy with the outcome? Right. And so sometimes a lot of people say, well, was that a good decision? Well, was that a good action? And the question I have is, well, what was the outcome you wanted? Right. They said, well, I yelled at them and they, and they started doing their work. Well, was that a good decision? I was like, well, depends what kind of outcome. I mean, did you want to build trust with them? Or did you want to just get this project done as fast as possible? If you want to just get the project done as fast as possible, great strategy. Great job. 2 thumbs up. Right? But if you wanted to rebuild trust with this team person so that you got their best moving forward for years and years to come, maybe it wasn't the best strategy for you. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of times, you got to define the outcome first. And that's why, Lisa, we want to kind of bring these up, but I just want to be super careful that we just don't give some pat answers to some of these things.
Yeah. This is not legal advice.
Yeah. Consult your HR professional.
Please.
It's a real thing.
So there's often problems with micromanaging from a non-leadership seat.
Oh, a lot, right? Because, maybe sometimes leadership changes, right? Managers change, but we still have people on the front line that maybe have been there for 10, 20, 30 years. They've lived in this small town, right? And the new boss flies in, relocates, and now he's new. But I have this person, and so the question is always with this is whoever the team listens to, that's the real leader. Right. And I always love, and there's certain industries that I find fascinating. I'm not going to name them, but I always love walking through their buildings and just trying to discover, hey, who is everybody listening to? And sometimes it is a frontline staff member, right, that has been there for 30 years. And the new leader has only been there for 6 months. And the new leader might be 35 years old. And this senior support person, right, is in their 60s. Right. But that looks totally different. Yeah. And just really, so sometimes, so it's this idea of whoever has the influence is the leader. And, an influence cannot be bought. It can't, right? It's actually a gift that people give you. It's why leadership is really a gift that people give you. If I choose for you to be, you can be my boss, but for me to choose for you to be my leader, that's a total gift.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. I look at it as super precious. It's precious when people allow me to lead them. Right? So.
Yeah. And so, but what do you do with, you've got informal power players.
Yeah.
And they're controlling workflow and they're controlling people. They're controlling information. They're gatekeeping, they're triangulating, they're undercutting. It's like how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that if you're the coworker? And how do you deal with that if you're the higher up?
Yeah. Well, for sure, if you're the higher up, Lisa, I think with all of this exposure is how you do it. Right? Transparency always creates accountability.
Yeah.
And the more light that we can shine on these things, so figuring out how to shine light on this, right? And so the more light and the more transparency, it's why when we work with teams and work with cultures, we're always looking at systems and processes. Because a lot of times, sometimes it can be more of a process problem than a people problem.
Right.
But if there's extreme light inside of the process, the more accountability and a little bit like the more people behave correctly.
Yeah.
Right. A CRM is a classic example. Right? Is that the best CRMs are the ones that have the most transparency, right? Because if it's not in this, one of our rules working with teams is if it's not in the CRM, it didn't happen, right? But how many times do salespeople like they say, oh yeah, but it's not, but we did, but this is promise. Hey, if it's not, right? A rule on our team is like, if it's not in proposals, it's not it's like, it's not going to happen, right? Oh yeah, but they said this and they promised. Hey, if it's not in proposals, it's not going to happen. Right. So always looking at systems and creating as much light as possible. And because transparency by nature creates accountability. It's like this idea, Lisa, do you realize that nobody ever cares what you eat until you say, hey, I'm going on a diet. And as soon as you announce to the world, hey, I'm going on a diet, everybody's like, hey, should you be eating that Twinkie? Hey, I thought you said last week you were going. Right? But before then, you don't care about putting a Twinkie in my mouth. But as soon as Dennis said, I'm going on a diet, everybody's concerned about what I eat. And it's that kind of idea, right? And so we always look at if we have problems with accountability, how do we create more transparency? And sometimes it can really be systems. You can use systems and processes to create that transparency.
Yeah. How about when the boss is the source of drama?
Oh my gosh, that doesn't happen, right? Yeah, that doesn't happen at all.
How do we when we're in an organization, when power protects the unhealthy behavior, when the power is the unhealthy behavior, what do we do when we as the team, the person on the top is the one stirring the pot?
Yeah, that's great. Lisa, why don't we put in the show notes this framework? I think this framework is super healthy. And it's a key to really nonviolent communication because it's super hard it's very hard to give feedback about somebody else, right? Or let me say it this way. It's hard for me to tell you about your behavior.
Right.
The thing that I can tell you about is I need to tell you about me. Right. And the only thing that we can ever give feedback on is behavior or words. It's what I see. Right. I can't tell you how you think or how you feel, but I can say, hey, when you yelled and screamed, whatever behavior, when you screamed at me, I felt belittled. I felt however you feel because I think you're not trusting me with this situation. What you think, hey, can you help me with this? When behavior, I feel blank because I think blank, can you help me with this? The key that gives people space is the can you help me with this? It is a fantastic way to coach up. Because what I just did is I didn't tell you about you, I told you about me. Hey, this happens. And so when this happens, I feel this. It's just me, right? And I could be like, I'm not saying you made me feel this way. I felt this because I'm thinking this. Can you help me? And it allows people to have a conversation about your thinking, right? Hey, is this true? Right? And it is a great way to coach up. So let's put that framework in the show notes. Yeah. Okay. It's a quick answer to like a big,
a difficult question.
A difficult question. And please reach out to us, right? Listen, before we get hate email, okay, before we get anything on social media, listen, please reach out to us, okay? Every situation is different, okay?
So unique and so complicated.
It's complex, so I never want to give a simple answer to it, but there are principles, okay? And there are ways to nuance this, and we want to help you nuance it. So if you're having this kind of issue, gosh, please reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you and love to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I think our work is done. I love this today. Yeah. What are you thinking?
I think it's very sad, but also very commonplace when we have an individual or individuals in the workplace that are creating just unhealthy environments for all of us.
Yeah.
And it takes a workplace and it makes it a place that while you may love the vision of the company, you don't love working there because the people are are just hard to be with. And while we're talking about how to enjoy, being around humans that you have to be around, sometimes you do have to exit, or sometimes you do have to address difficult behavior.
Well, and I think the key, Lisa, as we're just kind of thinking about this, is just really creating healthy boundaries. Right. Well, one thing we're just working with a senior leader, just had dinner with him and just talked about, hey, let's create some boundaries, right? Moving forward, right? Because a little, he's got a big heart, right? But a little bit like it's kind of run wild.
Yeah.
In that system. And we just created some boundaries about, hey, when you approach me, here's how I need you to approach me. Right. And just create these boundaries around it so they create some stability.
Yeah. Not allowing someone to talk down to you.
Right. And so really having boundaries that create safety. Because really what we're really kind of getting at and hitting around is this idea of psychological safety. Right. So working with this university out on the West Coast, right? And that's the whole workshop is really psychological safety. Because I explained some of these concepts and, the first question is, well, if I don't feel safe, I can't do that. And I said, you know what? That's why we're coming. We're coming to create rules for safety. We're coming to create this box and these boundaries for safety so that moving forward, we can have these honest, transparent conversations so that it exposes maybe some dysfunctional things that are happening so that we really get the outcomes that the organization really needs to have. And so in what's funny, Lisa, is like this is in a highly bureaucratic environment. So sometimes people say, well, yeah, if it was entrepreneurial and I had listen, you can do it in a bureaucratic environment too. We can show you how. Okay. You got to do it a little different, right? It's different in entrepreneurial environments than it is in bureaucratic environments, but it still can be done. So do not believe the lie. Well, it's just whatever, healthcare, it's just government, or it's just education, right? These things, maybe some of these like systems that are highly bureaucratic, right? It don't fall into that trap. Right? Because that is a lie that you believe that is not always true. It's a lens that you're seeing things in, and it's sort of limiting, what you're trying to do. So we don't want that to be. But please listen. Today was super highly nuanced. So we'd love for you to reach out to us. Reach out to us, explain your situation to us, and we're here for you. We want to really create these healthy cultures with a lot of safety, so people enjoy being around people that you're going to have to be around them. So let's figure out how to enjoy it. I think our work is done. We'll see you next time on the Drama Free Living podcast.